demanded things right now maybe you are working on. So it will be great if we can go one by one.
So let me start. First of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. Um, my name is Iftikhar. I'm one of the product managers for Microsoft Security Products. My team develops some of our cybersecurity products for threat detections and response. And at this time, while AI is not really something new for threat detection, it has been used for a very long time. It's just that now, with all the marketing muscles coming in, it's getting more projected that we are doing, everybody's doing AI, but it's been being done for a while now. At this time, some of our focus is basically on threat research, especially doing threat intelligence, especially when we have optics like looking at all the signals coming from various parts of our digital estate, like IP addresses, connections from various geographical locations, people sending different types of authentication requests coming in. Earlier, some of these research were mostly human driven, and it required a lot of, first of all, muscles, human muscles to do that, and then a lot of data science and all of that. Now a lot of things have completely changed, with the AI, because now these things are getting more faster. For an organization who is currently getting attacked, the translation of doing threat intelligence to an actual defense has to be much faster, which was taking a lot earlier. So when you detect a malware or detect a malware outbreak, in traditional antivirus world, we have to go back and develop a definition of an antivirus and then deploy this around the globe, which would take sometimes weeks. Now is not really the time to have that luxury of taking weeks to develop an antivirus detection or a definition. Now it has to be quick. If there's a major malware outbreak, if there's a major vulnerability that got disclosed, that research needs to translate into actual remediation in a matter of seconds. That is now currently our focus is, and that's where most of our focus, especially with artificial intelligence, is being worked upon, where some of the things can be detected right there itself without needing any kind of definition. So if it's a malicious intent of a system or a file of a user, like in an earlier session we saw, the detection has to be there within the user boundary itself, without having something to come up from the cloud. But yes, when it comes to doing threat research and then finding anomalies of what is a baseline and then what is an anomaly beyond that baseline, those things are now getting much better and faster with AI coming in. So that's where most of our focus right now is.
So just to put in simple words for people to understand, smart detections which we are focusing on. So some things which we have been doing manually, fetching the IOCs, rather if we can speed up the things with the help of AI. So already these solutions existed in the market, but the label of AI, that is something which is coming out to be very popular, becoming popular nowadays. So yeah, definitely smart detections is one use case which we can have from Microsoft side. What Prashant, you want to add?
So hi everyone, my name is Prashant. I run Native and Plankred. One is a AI first company. We build custom AI solutions for our end customers, and the second is a infrastructure company in which we build edge servers for on-site deployment for our customers. Adding to what we just heard, one thing that has come up very clearly in the entire development phase is essentially what used to take months is now converted to weeks. In fact, for us also in our development projects, if the estimate was say 6 months, it's now 6 weeks. It literally translates from months to weeks with the same amount of the number without getting changed. With that speed comes the challenge for securing these solutions. For example, we built examination management systems for Union Public Service Commission. Some of our quizzing applications went live with Sony Live. So there have been attacks from all aspects of the application. I mean, everyone has been trying to attack for financial gain, for getting access or getting or clearing UPSC exams, right? So continuous VAPT or continuous assessment has come up as another component, which is right now with rapid development scales is very much important. And thirdly, inference attacks have become very prominent now. Inference and adversarial attacks. Like we saw in the demo of Benign, probably these are very difficult to tame or very difficult to identify. But yeah, these are the challenges that we are facing currently. The industry as a whole is facing currently, and we need very smart solutions. Probably multi-agentic solutions are coming up with security first approach. But then again, a lot more needs to be done, and there's no clear way to put a solution, to clear way to solve these problems. You need to have a layered approach to solve these problems. You need to have layers and layers of security. For example, say pattern recognition, like what Benign was trying to do, that could be the first layer of defense. And then there have to be other agentic systems in place. Some could be reactive, some could be proactive to solve these challenges. But in almost all the developments that we do now, the speed and the agility of attacks have become very significant now, and they require equally fast responses to solve these problems.
Got it. So it's more like first we are building the AI solution, then we ended on multi-agentic solutions, and then we are also securing those.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much like Agent Smith and Neo, like in Matrix. You need to have
evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have very fast evolvements.
True. So, yeah, so from your end, use cases include all AI and securing the AI. That also is another use case, right? Great. So, Priya, you want to add?
Yeah, definitely. So at Gartner, we have been integrating AI like for a long time, right? So with GenAI, the spectrum has broadened. So the solutions like that we are offering, which are AI based for client facing tools and as well as our internal teams, right? So for the client facing tools, if you know, Gartner is about providing objective and actionable insights to our clients, and there earlier what we were doing is we were giving them the research to read. Right, so if they were looking for some insights, we will give them the research with a summary or a description. Now what we have changed it to is a very summarized answer to the question directly. So it has actually transformed the client experience and giving them more value, right? Rather than reading 10 researches, you will be having a summarized answer, which is again objective and actionable, rather than just a Google search. Then secondly, for our internal teams as well, we have been transforming the way they have been working for both efficiency gains and productivity gains. For example, and not just that, but also transforming the deliveries for us, for our clients, right? For example, service delivery assistants. So earlier, our service delivery teams have been interacting with the clients on their issues and their mission critical priorities. But now these assistants can help knowing exact context and delivering value in much better way, right? And of course, the turnaround, as Prashant was mentioning, it has reduced with AI. So having service delivery assistants being more agentic rather than just manual, and it is transforming our service delivery a lot, and then productivity gains.
Yeah. So just a few recaps. So you mentioned about service delivery. So the service delivery, it is adding in terms of feedback, like suggestion, as well as speed perspective. Both things are added to it, right? And the last second use case was about the clients can narrow down the research what they are doing. So that will help save a lot of time.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's a RAG-based generation, so over AI, so you can easily just look at the answer. And now nobody has time to read full research, right? So you need all that.
So even putting the right questions to the AI, that is also difficult for people. So I think that's where narrowing it down automatically, that's where it's helping us a lot, right? Okay. Deepak, you want to add?
Sure. So my name is Deepak. I have around, as Swati mentioned, around 15 years of experience, totally focused into cryptography domain. Now transitioning into the post-quantum cryptography. So unlike these folks here, I do not build AI solutions, but I actually protect them. Starting from, we do have the basic what goes into the IT/OT field, which is encryption, tokenization, pseudonymization, containerization, and all. So I have worked on various use cases which I would like to. So a little bit about my experience. It's around 5-6 years in India, and then a couple of years in Europe, and then majority of my experience is in the US and Canada. So I have worked with a broad category of customers, including from insurance, domain, and then the healthcare. Then we do have defense background. So I have seen now AI being, being adopted by most of these industries, and little by little, use cases here and there. If I talk about the healthcare industries, there is the predictive healthcare analysis which is being done that involves a lot of sensitive data for the patients, which if leaked out goes against the privacy of these patients. If we talk about defense sector, we do have a lot of sensitive information, which is operational data sets. Someone was giving an example of the surveillance on the AI-based drones. Definitely, they are in picture. The use case does exist, but there are operational data sets which needs to be protected before we go online with them. Similarly, we go with the financial institutes, which is and one thing to understand is all models we're talking about. They go hand in hand with all the compliances. We talk about PCI DSS, we talk about HIPAA, we talk about GDPR, we talk about DPDP, which is coming soon to India. So we have to map with all these compliances. They should go hand in hand with whatever output we want to get from AI. So throughout this conversation, I will more be focusing on the use cases from the security standpoint, and that also from the PKI and the encryption, tokenization, and all.
Got it. So mostly it's focused on data protection,
That's
data
right.
privacy, and how we can use AI to make it more enhanced.
Absolutely.
Maybe DLP solutions also, or is it more related to research?
So now I think the Horizon has brought in. If I see AI, I see it as two different aspects. One is AI as a consumer of a sensitive data, where you consume the data and you then have a data sets and train your models on that. And then I see AI, second portion is AI as a enabler of data protection, where it comes, your data discoveries, your anomaly detection, and then today we all see a major, even a medium category organization, they have data on-premise SaaS environment, on cloud. So really the organizations are confused where the data is. So at that point of time, really the AI solutions are actually, they're giving a high, I would say, edge to our companies who are using AI solutions for data discoveries and, even sandboxing or quantizing the data at a location where it should not be.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely is needed a lot, and especially data is the core of everything.
Absolutely.
So data security controls at the core. That is the requirement in every business, every industry. So it has a lot of scope, and people will love to learn more about that, definitely. So let's try to cover some of the use cases throughout the panel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So over to you, Teja.
Yeah, I think so. I come from the Data Security Council. We are primarily a think tank and industry body. So what we do is not so much of an implementation side, but essentially enablement side, right? So almost I think around 5-6 years before is when we first saw not specifically AI, I mean Gen AI, but AI picking up quite significantly. So we've made early investments into essentially giving a lot of GPU access. This was much before GPT moment, right? So at that time, machine learning and AI were all in rage, and then a lot of startups, cyber security startups, specifically wanted to leverage ML and early AI 2021 time frame. So we've made that early investment, and then we've supported a lot of startups, right? But from our perspective, I think some of you would know that about a month before, MIT has released a research that says around 95% of the investments that happened in the Gen AI probably didn't evoke any meaningful outcome, right? So what that tells us is essentially there's still a lot of opportunity for new applications. I think most of the industries are now still understanding how to actually use AI in their own context, right? So our perspective is essentially one should not blindly essentially adopt any model, right? Unless you go into nuts and bolts. We would advise you to start with RAG and then essentially and then build on top of that on your data, and then essentially that will give you much better perspective. So 2-3 applications that internally we've developed that are open for public. One is for TechSagar. This is something we've been doing by working with National Security Council. So when we wanted to understand where does India stand in terms of capabilities, right? So this was much before GPT came. So then we used to do everything manually, keyword searches and everything. But now a lot of it moved into Gen AI. But that application itself is evolving. What we also see is that a lot of companies are trying to actually use AI, but also have marry that with ethics and put some governance practices in place, right? So we are also working to see essentially how do you actually effectively do that while balancing out innovation and privacy and security as well, right? So that's on a larger note what we do.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, you have explored all the range of applications which are being developed. Especially startups are coming up with different solutions. So that's the innovation, their problem they are trying to solve. But yeah, the efficacy of those AI solutions which are being built, I think that is still something which can be improved a lot. And given the data set which is needed, a lot of data set, a lot of research, streamlining. So that is where I feel even like other the startups can add more research and
Perfect. So another use case which is coming up is synthetic generation of data for training these models, right? And this is very important because like Saumagya was mentioning about biases which creep in in the training data set. That's one use case which is coming up very strongly. If we are able to crack the right approaches or right parameters to generate these synthetic data in a right manner, I think that will be sort of a holy grail of the entire ecosystem, because it solves you a lot of problems later on with these models.
So it's like using AI for even generating the relevant data for
training the
models
yes.
itself.
Yeah. That's how DeepSeek and Quen and
They
these
got
newer
it at the speed,
yeah.
It is now preferred more than like ChatGPT,
Yes.
even though there were some security implications. But apart from that,
I mean, yes, there are state-sponsored attacks, but then these models are like really open.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent of DeepSeek, even though it's like Chinese sponsored. But then you can take that entire model and run it offline, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is stopping you to do that,
Exactly.
other than the GPU costs, right? But yeah, I think these models are fantastic and add a lot of value. You just have to put it in the right environment.
exactly.
That's it. Yes.
I think that's where even like many startups, many companies are facing challenge because of the resources, how they can train more data. So that's where we can scale it up using
Absolutely.
AI for AI. So
Yes.
AI against AI, AI for AI. All these terms are very common nowadays. Yeah.
Humans
Great.
are at the verge of extinction.
Exactly. Someday we'll see humans, AI amongst this panelist also. Yeah. Great. So I'll just ask few more questions. Like these are more specific to each of your background and what you are working with. So first question for Iftikhar from your side. Like since you mentioned about some security scenarios and smart detections. So from the client's perspective, from the client's requirement, you are dealt directly with the clients, right? And the technical solutions from Microsoft's end as well. So what do you think is the like direction? What is the most demanded things by the clients?
So, especially from a threat detection perspective, a lot of organizations have been investing. First of all, let's all understand, and appreciate the fact that cybersecurity skill is definitely a problem, not just in India, everywhere, right? We cannot hire cybersecurity professionals and have them do trivial tasks in a security operations environment, because they are, first of all, they are very scarce resource, they are highly paid, and sometimes it just takes a lot of time for them to train and their development and then also retain them. Nobody wants to do a trivial task or repetitive jobs in their organizations, right? So one of the major transformation that most of the security operations teams in the organizations are currently going through is to ensuring that some of their repetitive investigations are completely automated, where nobody needs to go and look after. I mean, we have all seen logs coming from network firewalls. I mean, nobody needs to know where that particular, that variable is there in which column. I think that those days are of the past. People just need to know what kind of question that they need to ask. They need to use their human intuition, their suspicion skills, their interpretational skills, their correlation skills to basically look for what could go wrong, and not having to worry about which particular log will give me that answer. They just need to ask the right questions. And with that kind of mindset, they can now investigate threats much faster. They can understand where the threats can come from, what is the exposure of their organization, and then also take actions and remediate them. Some of those trivial, like a malware detected on a device machine, which is now very commodity, nobody needs to go after and take a look at it. Let the system do their thing. Let it graduate to a level where a human needs to get involved and then take things in their own hand. So some of the things that we are seeing mostly in organization, that most of their level one investigations are completely getting automated,
Yeah.
using AI agents, using automations which comes within the products that they use, and that's where most of the focus is, that we want our human resources to do quality investigations rather than doing the trivial correlations.
Actually, that was my about to ask that question only. Like with AI coming into picture, do you see the SOC level one to be, in the industry for a longer time?
Uh, I don't actually, and there's no need to. Uh, Level one is now going to be like level zero. Like we call level zero as a completely automation layer. There's no longer that level one doesn't need to be there. Our human people needs to get trained and then do they will mostly have a supervisory level on top of the AI agents. So AI agents will do the actual, let's say, mm, looking at whether this particular value exists in these Excel sheets or these tables or not. Human eyes doesn't really need to do that. But the human eyes and their intellectual capabilities should be there to make sure that those agents, first of all, developing those agents, make sure that agents are doing the right thing, then making sure that agents learn the right stuff with the knowledge that we need to bring in, especially from our organizational data, and then also maintaining that agent, because knowledge that it had yesterday may not be relevant today. Right, so monitoring, maintaining those agents, to do the right thing in the organization, especially the trivial task, is going to be important. And I think I see in the future that our, precious human skills are going to do some of those stuff rather than doing trivial tasks of right clicks and, isolation.
Yeah, definitely. So this is not a very long-term future we are talking about. I believe it's just even this year, next year.
Not even next year. I'm talking about some of the future which is like next week, and some organization may already have even achieved it. So
Yeah. So do you have any products in mind, like which are already following this AI-based, SOC?
actually, almost nothing. I've been in Microsoft for 16 years now, and there are a lot of products that Microsoft is developing. But I'm not just saying just Microsoft. Every security company in the organization has developed a product, because if if you have to be there to meet our customers' requirements, you have to adopt AI. There's no way that you can write the code the way it used to do 2 years back, right? So you have to be more agile in a way, and those things can only happen when you adopt AI and then bring AI. So the cybersecurity game is going to be AI versus AI. Because attackers are going to continue to go use AI. They think in graph. They don't think in list the way human does. They don't have a checklist, right? And we have to evolve there as well. So it's going to be AI versus AI at some point. So that's
With
where
this competitive fight versus AI, I think the quality will definitely go, at an enhanced level when it comes to an industry.
So who can use the AI in a better way
Hmm.
is going to be the winner,
Exactly.
right? And of course, keeping the human intellect and mind of course as part of the whole thing, and that is where I think the differentiation would lie. The attacker using their brains to write a better, train a better, make a use of better AI. I think, and we as defenders will basically drive how the game is going to be.
So yeah, definitely. So same like security, for hacking as well as defending, we need to know both the things. AI is definitely the same thing. For even positive as well as the negative thing, both are leveraging the same resources. It's just a direction how they are putting it. Thanks, Aptana. It was great insights from you. I'll jump on to the next question, especially for Priya and Prashant, who can answer this one. So, see, we have been talking about AI from the tech perspective a lot, right? So, what do you think from the leadership perspective? What are the gaps? What are the blind spots? And why it is a leadership concern also that we should, consider when we are talking about AI?
Okay, sure. Thanks. Definitely, I think AI security is not just a technical concern any longer. It is a leadership, it does require leadership vision there. And not there are a few things which leadership definitely has to do now with the security. One is it could having a strong AI governance, which means establishing clear goals of that governance team, and having a leader who is looking into AI decisioning, and making someone accountable for those decisions, doing all the vendor evaluations, and bringing the AI in the company in a structured way rather than just bringing it in ad hoc manner. Then establishing that cross-functional collaboration, because the AI security requires engineering teams, security teams, and business teams to work together rather than just a technical concern, right? So leadership has to navigate or drive that collaboration. Then is the business alignment, right? So earlier, its security teams are working to secure the infrastructure and all, but now the AI security need to be integrated within our business goals, the strategic goals for the business, and they need to drive the right use cases and ensuring the adoption of those use cases within the organization. So definitely, it's no longer a technical concern and has to be led at a leadership level.
Adding to what Priya just said, I think it's always security and not just AI security which needs to be driven from top to bottom. Organizations rarely drive or run with the approaches which are coming in from the bottom, except a few, Google for example, right? And probably Microsoft, I'm not sure. But yeah, the point is security has to be taken up seriously at the top level. We saw this in the recent attacks that happened on JLR, right? The entire production has been halted for what, I think 1.5, 2 months, almost 2 months now, close to 2 months, right? Though it was a ransomware attack, some Jira credentials were leaked and they got compromised, right? I think the board needs to look at AI as a prodigy a prodigy child or prodigy employee, right, that has come on board. And it can do whatever it wants, right? It has to be treated pretty much like a human with a fickle mind at this point. It's not mature yet, right? So the approach has to be top to bottom. One needs to look at the way these security attacks are happening and implement the countermeasures possible. You might not be able to secure the entire surface area. You might not be able to cover all the use cases, right? But you can probably have backups of backups or BCPs in place, right? So that your production, for example, doesn't go down, or your shareholders are not impacted by, say, false information floating in the market, right? You need to have a very agile and proactive approach right from the top, because if it's not driven from the top, the organization will miss it. And again, in terms of security and innovations, it has to be always driven from the top. Yeah.
So I think the words you have used, the rightly used word for we should assume AI as a kind of fickle-minded prodigy as well,
Yes.
and a child who can just destroy everything. So we have to take care of things like how it is doing. So that is where I feel the word should be put rightly in the mindset of the people when it comes to AI, because many leaders are having a blind spot of securing AI. So I think the blind spot which is there, that has to be addressed, and it can be only reflected with the impact it is going to have. Right?
Correct.
So and you focus on the aspect of impact, and Priya focused from the perspective of process. So actually, my question next about the process itself is when AI, the widespread use of AI came into picture. So how much was the evolvement required from the management perspective? So what was the difference, you felt? What was the gap also you felt?
Yeah, definitely. So initially we weren't seeing that much, boardroom discussions on AI security or the accuracy of our AI algorithms out there. So it was more like, technical teams are building the AI solutions and they are deploying their AI solutions. And later when it went to the testing mode, right, or it got ready for client environment or the client facing tools, then there comes the concerns like, okay, it's hallucinating, or it is there are inaccuracies in our AI systems, and then the leadership was like, okay, what are we doing? What are the guardrails have we implemented? And then it became a leadership question. But during the development or when we started incepting all the use cases, leadership wasn't that there. But now with that 1 year or 2 year, we started maybe 2021 to 2023, this was more like that. But now the leadership is very much aware. They are being part of when you are trying to find out the right use cases and ensuring the security or the accuracy is being considered, right? The accuracy checks are there, hallucination checks, and while you are deploying your AI solutions, and then and later also the adoption is happening at the right level.
So I think that's again you rightly pointed out. The leaders, when they are building the products, they are not much concerned about it. When they actually see the attacks happening in the live environment, that's where all the alert comes up. So the process has been like feedback driven. Management changes which are coming in this industry. So yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, initially business was more like just solve these use cases, right? And at ASAP, like within 2 weeks, if we can round it up, because of course it's going to give you more business value and money, and that's the focus is for the business. But later, when you realize, okay, after it has become client facing, and you know, okay, these are the challenges coming up, then it becomes the priority for the business also to tackle it in the right